normally leads us in the intro, so go ahead, Jerry.
Welcome back to another podcast of
Insightful Buffoonery.
Very insightful.
We've done 5 of these.
We've done 5 of them so far.
And you still don't got the name
today
down.
we have a special guest, Prince, doing the sound engineering. Prince.
What up,
Welcome.
what up?
AKA Vivid
AKA.
Trip.
Vivid in the building.
Vivid.
Shout
Like
out.
and subscribe.
Shout out to Jamaica, New York. I don't know why, but
Hey,
Oh,
Jamaica.
he's going to give a shout out to that.
So
yes,
Jamaica,
Prince,
New York, if you're out there.
Yes, Jamaica, New York.
And you're
If you're
listening.
out there and listening, Prince is giving a shout out.
Prince is giving you a shout out.
Yes.
Doom, doom, doom.
So a second ago, you guys were saying that Bieber's eyes were like lizards.
There was a
Yeah.
supposed video that like a long time ago where his eyes closed side
So
to
what's
side.
with this whole lizard people? Or
I think it's
lizard
just
thing?
a wacky conspiracy, man.
Well, to me, it reminds me of the 1980s TV show V. Do you guys remember that TV show? when the-
you know what? I think they remade it.
Oh, did they?
They did, and I think it was pretty short-lived.
It
I don't think
was?
it made it past the
Well,
season.
back in the 80s, it wasn't short-lived. Back in the 80s, it was I think maybe 5 seasons of it.
Oh, really?
But anyways, it was like these aliens were taking over Earth, but they were masquerading themselves as humans.
Mm-hmm.
But the only way you could tell they were aliens was from their eyes. So because they had lizard eyes. So I'm guessing.
So, like, the
somebody-
color was lizard or just the way
Well,
it closed?
It was like 80s, you know.
So it sucked.
Yeah, it sucked. I mean, they had like lizard contacts in, where you guys
the
could
only
see.
good movie from the 80s was Scarface.
Scarface was
Cult
actually
classic.
pretty good.
Cult classic.
Do you guys know who directed Scarface?
No.
Brian De Palma.
That's crazy. Don't
Yeah.
care. That's crazy.
Who cares? Actually, that was probably Brian De Palma's best work. So, yes.
That's crazy.
Scarface was an 80s classic.
It is.
Yeah, I heard that it. Do you guys think that it gave rise to like drugs and selling drugs more in the communities?
I don't think it gave. He was asking, was Scarface, when it came out in the 80s, did it help perpetuate? Did I say the word?
Perpetuate.
Well, I don't think you're even using the right word. Perpetuate is like...
Perpetuate.
Yeah, but I don't think you're using the correct word
Well,
that you should
okay.
be using.
Did it help boost the sales of cocaine?
Yeah, see, what you're saying with perpetuate is like, did it perpetuate the stereotype, like carry the stereotype, you would say, or something like
yeah,
along
it did
that line.
Also, I mean,
So I don't think perpetuate, which you're having a hard time with, is the correct
Same.
word to
Ding,
use.
ding, ding.
Yeah.
Word of the day, perpetuate.
Perpetuate. Ding, ding, ding.
they're gonna have fun with that one.
Words with the troll, huh?
So,
Perpetuate.
There's a word, perpetuate. So
You'd like to
anyway,
add that in there for a little
yeah, we're gonna
little
leave
spice.
that in there. That's for a little spice of bashing. Apparently, especially with the Nazi. Yeah, we have a neo-Nazi out there.
Grammar Nazi.
A grammar Nazi. He knows who he is. Anyways, yeah, during the 80s, I would say that Scarface was one of many movies that helped, glorify cocaine. King of New York.
True.
With Christopher Walken, which played who?
Oh, Frank
White.
Yeah, I was about to say Frank Lucas.
No, Frank White.
Yeah.
See,
Didn't he
but-
get his blown head off in that movie?
I don't know. I really didn't see.
I feel like he did.
Kings of New York, in its entirety. I can't
I
say.
saw
I did.
Wasn't Lawrence
I saw
Fishburne?
Gang
Fishburne
Bangers.
was in there.
Fishburne was in. You know what other movie Lawrence Fishburne was when he was 15? When he started acting? What the other movie that he was in? He was in Apocalypse Now.
Never seen it.
Really? So Apocalypse Now, when it came out in the late 70s, early 80s, was about Vietnam. But in your guys, maybe in 2018 or 17, what was that one with Ben Stiller and Jack Black? They were in the jungle.
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder was sort of loosely based on Apocalypse Now.
Well, I don't know enough about that to debunk what you're saying, so
Well,
I'll roll with it.
okay.
That's a quite interesting fact. Don't
That
care.
is. So again, So, anyways, about the cocaine.
Jerry, that's so profound.
That is very profound.
Very.
Yes. So, again, about the cocaine. I don't know. I keep like saying that word.
Cocaine seems happy.
Cocaine seems like
it seems like a word that cocaine.
Like, hey man, you want to do some cocaine? You know, happy.
It
Like,
sounds a little bit
Prince.
sketchy, but
Prince,
a
do you
little
wanna
bit
try-
wholesome.
Yeah, where meth would be like, hey Prince, you want to try some meth?
Yeah, it sounds very down,
It
dark.
sounds like a really like a down, creepy road.
Well, it's because when we associate drugs, we think like cocaine. Okay, it's a rich person's drug, right? Most people that do coke are what? I don't know.
White collar people.
Yeah, like Bruno Mars.
Right.
Sorry to bring up your past, bro, but
He looked quite happy in his mugshot too. I wonder
He
if
did.
was on-
Cocaine.
Yeah, because he was quite smiling in it. It wasn't like he was like, oh.
Well, I see someone said that's.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was like, oh man, I'm fucked up on cocaine. He was like, hey.
When they also
Right.
said you smile like that when you know you have bail money.
Oh, so
I
he was smiling because he knew he had bail money.
He was gonna be out in a few
that's
hours.
True. I think
So he knew he was gonna get his ass bailed out.
Yes.
because if you're going to jail without
I don't
money,
think the label's gonna keep him in there.
So
Bad for business.
My question is, then,
and his hair's a little bit too pretty.
yeah, it is, man, to be locked up for long periods of time.
Yes.
So my question would be like, how did Bruno Mars get caught doing cocaine?
Well, he was trying to do it out of a stripper's ass crack.
Is that for real?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe. Shit.
My question is, how do you get caught
Okay, I don't know.
doing cocaine? Because, I mean, there's been plenty of places where I did a bump or two, allegedly. And
How's it allegedly if you just admitted to it?
exactly.
No admission of guilt. We advise our parolee to plead the fifth.
Yeah. So I would say there were times when I did a bump or two in questionable places.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I only came close to getting caught, never getting caught. So
You did call the cops on yourself once.
I did, but fortunately they didn't pull me away. I mean, they asked me to step outside.
Did you step outside?
I did not. I said, officer, I think they're down the street, and I think they're black.
Oh God.
So
Well, you got somebody harassed that day.
he at least threw a believable lie in there.
Right. Yes.
The thoughts and opinions of Jerry do not reflect that of my own.
No, they don't reflect his
Disclaimer.
own. But yeah, so the 80s, movies like Scarface, Kings of New York, New Jack City, basically.
I do like considering the media that I consumed as a kid, I should probably be a hood person.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I shouldn't say hood person. I don't like the word thug either.
A street dude,
A rebel.
A rebel.
a man of the streets.
A man of.
I should be a rebel because most of my childhood I was watching drug and crime movies.
Right.
Now that I look back,
But even if you're watching drug and crime movies, would that make you who you should be? Just because of something you watch?
valid point.
You know what I mean? Because
Environment and
right,
and
because that's
nature versus
entertainment, and maybe
nurture.
some people, they say, "Oh man, I want to be like Neil Brown from New Jack City. I want to on Thanksgiving, I want to be passing out turkeys." You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I mean, if you're a person of color like us, does that really do we have to reflect what we see?
Right, and that's
You mean perpetuate the stereotype?
Yeah, to perpetuate the stereotype.
ding ding
Thank you.
ding. Word
That's
of
how
the
you
day.
correctly use that
That is
word.
the word of the day. Yes, perpetuate.
I think that's a valid point because the argument in psychology is nature versus nurture. So I'm like, a lot of people will say this guy's he's a product of his environment,
Right.
But there are never one side to the story. So you have people who come from the hood and do great things. Speak with articulate.
Right. So
grammar and
like
things.
as given like actors like Denzel Washington, Samuel L. Jackson, I think when they questioned Samuel L. Jackson that he does Tarantino movies, that why would you do movies for, why would you make movies with the races? Well, Samuel L. Jackson's argument is, do you ever see me acting stupid? Do you ever see the characters I play, are like, stupid or something? You know what I mean? The dialogue that he's given for his characters in all the movies that he's made, I mean,
Snakes on a Plane was kind of horrible.
it was
So,
just like the shark one. Fuck, when he got eaten by a shark. But,
that was at Jaws? Or not Jaws,
no, it wasn't Jaws. It
Deep
was
Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea.
Wait, I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen that? Is that
You never seen Deep Blue Sea? Really?
are you-
LL Cool J's in that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, he was the cook.
I did not like LL Cool J as a rapper.
What?
A rapper, an actor.
You mean as a rapper?
No, he made some pretty good songs, but as an actor, I didn't follow his cinema career.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Who's got the music on back there?
Oh, that'd be David.
Okay. I thought.
Should we pause it real quick and wait till?
No, you turned it off.
Okay.
So
We deal with very many distractions other than technical ones.
yeah,
in the streets of
Because-
Frogtown.
I know, right?
Please stand by.
Yeah, especially when you're doing a podcast in your garage and there's nefarious, or I should say nefarious, when there's other
Another word of
people.
the day.
Word of the day.
Perpetuate and nefarious.
Very-
It seems like that the word nefarious came up quite a bit the other day. So, but again, like you were saying, because of your your environment, do you become a product of your environment?
And that was
Some do.
so profound.
That was very profound,
Very
Prince.
profound.
Insightful.
And very insightful.
Insightful from a buffoon.
Yeah, I like that. But like Samuel L. Jackson, I think the first movie I seen him in was Coming to America, where he played a junkie. I think he played a junkie a few times. I think he played one in what was the other movie he played? Where he played him and Holly Berry were both junkies.
Holly?
Holly Berry.
I
What
think
did
I
I
think
say?
you bring
You
up.
said Holly.
Holly.
I think you bring up an interesting point as far as how Hollywood entertainment is. A lot of minorities, in order to break into the industry, have to portray
submit
these.
they have to do that. Yep.
You know what showed that? Malibu's Most Wanted
Yeah.
with the
With
what's
Tay,
the dude?
Tay
Yeah, Tay
Diggs.
Diggs and what's the other dude's name? God damn it, it's like on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, Tay Diggs and then the dude from Blackish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
Anthony.
Yeah, it is Anthony
Anthony something.
Freeman.
Yeah, is that
No,
what it is?
I'm-
Oh, God.
I just threw out a comment.
God, I don't know. It's
But
like on
it's
the tip of my
Anthony
tongue.
something. But anyways, he's from Blackish. Yeah, because when they were in,
Like, I'm tired of perpetuating. Word of the day.
Ding ding ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
yeah, it was perpetuating, and he did make a point that they both did, and they're like, well, how black do you want us to act?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, the white guy acting as if he was from the hood, and then you had two black actors that were supposed to act like they're from the hood, where they were trained at the Juilliard School of Acting or something. It seems like everyone goes to the school of Juilliard or something.
It's a profound art school.
It is a very profound art school.
That's so profound.
It is highly profound. But yeah, I guess you bring up the point again, and I taken psychology, I think in 7th grade or 8th grade, but again, the thing is, do you become a product of your environment? Because of your parents, your relatives, what you listen to. Some people do, some people don't, you know? So
Yeah, and I think to your point, it comes down to what you consume, right? So like, a lot of people go around and they're negative simply because, the world is negative and
Right.
they just take in negativity all the time rather than consuming content that's positive and helps you see from a different perspective what life can really be for you.
But a lot of those movies, the writers, they in their eyes, they when they come up with characters, they see when they come up with the storyline or something, they say, okay, we're gonna have a story where this junkie robs this guy. Well, in their eyes, the junkie has to be someone of color,
Right.
and the person getting robbed is somebody that's white,
Right.
or a white collar person.
Right.
So instead of them saying, well, how about vice versa? How about the junkie is a white person robbing a black person, a person of color? Oh, why can't we have that? But it's always vice versa.
It's kind of it goes back to stereotypes. Like if an audience member are predominantly middle class white people, then they're gonna believe a certain stereotype. And if you want your movie to be believable and connect with your audience, you have to portray that image. I think what's interesting though is that you find that a lot of those who are admitted to drug treatment programs are actually white people.
I think you're right, especially now. Like David Chappelle had a point. Like now with the whole, what is it? The drug that
Heroin.
Well, not heroin, but
That's what's going on right now. Is the heroin
no, but what is
epidemic?
it? It's in the pills. It's popping.
Oh,
Opiates.
yeah, opiates.
So with the whole opiate crisis, everybody's screaming, "Oh my God! It's an epidemic. My 50-year-old son's taking it." Well, look, lady, that's because your 50-year-old son likes to take drugs, and now he's a drug addict. But what happened? What happened when this 50-year-old other kid of color was smoking crack? Oh,
just say no.
yeah. So why don't you just tell your son, just say no? But yet you want the federal government now is putting millions of dollars into treatment for them, for people taking opiates. But then again, when it was back in the 80s, it was basically, well, let's pass laws. If you get caught with crack cocaine, you're getting locked up.
Prison.
That was the alternative. Here
they can't let little Timmy.
They can't let little Timmy from the suburbs, go to prison, go to jail because he's a good kid.
Yeah, he just made a wrong choice.
Yeah, he just made a wrong choice.
Well, that's the thing. Like, when you talk about,
or no, they say a mistake. He made a mistake.
Or he made a mistake.
Seeing with people of color, whenever there's a development in a story, they look at what has this person done wrong in the past. When they were looking at little Brock Turner, who actually raped a woman.
Right.
And they looked at him and said, well, let's not let one mistake dictate his entire future. Although the one mistake he made dictated an entire future for a woman.
For that young girl,
right.
yeah.
And you see,
I think for people of color, man, we're not afforded the luxury of making a mistake.
That is true. That is true.
It's one mistake, prison. Or 15 years, 10 years.
And that's what's kind of messed up, especially because the people that are in charge in public office and that are people of non-color. You have white people. So they don't see what you see through your eyes. They only see what they want to see. They see a person who's at a disadvantage. So what's the point in trying to put more money into helping that person?
Sure.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of fucked up because with this whole opiate crisis, people are getting their hands on it. Other people are, they're robbing, stealing, just like in the 80s. People are robbing and stealing to get their hands on the drugs to get high, But they're like, oh, they made a mistake, and they're just hooked on it because, for whatever reason. But you know what I mean? So it's a fucked up double standard. So
very. I mean, but that's just.
I mean,
we're a double standard country.
We are. We definitely are. And are we gonna somehow move out of that? Maybe.
I don't think anytime. Not
anytime
soon.
I mean, there's a lot going on right now. I mean, with the whole, tearing down monuments and.
I was telling Princess a few weeks ago that there was this thing on National Geographic where they were saying like 50 years from now, most of the country would be of mixed, babies and everything from
Be biracial.
from all biracial.
You're a biracial, baby.
I am. Yes, I'm a product of.
I am also biracial.
See,
Mixed.
My mother is actually half Native, or not half Native. She's actually white and Native and black.
see.
Oh wow.
So it
Do you know what
probably
Native?
aligned.
Like
Well,
What tribe?
what?
well,
what
I'm
tribe?
not sure exactly because with my family, it's kind of interesting. We don't know a lot of history as our ancestors, but she is from Arkansas, so around that region, I think was
Blackfoot.
Blackfoot. I think, or I'll have to do some more research.
Yeah, because when you
but-
said Arkansas, June, my buddy June, I think he's from Arkansas, and he also has Native in him, and I think it's from Blackfoot.
Okay.
So-
it probably because I'm like I think this upper Midwestern region was the Sioux, which is or the trying to think of their actual name. Well, the Sioux, but I don't think that's an appropriate term for.
Sioux.
Well, it's because Sioux was a name given to them by their enemies. I think it was their Ojibwe.
Okay, Ojibwe.
Or something. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought Sioux was its own name for its own tribe.
Oh well, yeah, it's attached to them, but
But it wasn't the name they gave
yeah,
themselves. It was bestowed upon them.
Yep.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I'm about to check that out.
I'm gonna fact check it right now,
Okay.
so I don't sound like an idiot.
Don't worry, man.
Like I was saying though about the National Geographic thing, that even if the world did become a lot of biracial children, that human beings I think are naturally just selfish creatures.
Yeah.
And will still do a me before you attitude and still find some way to discriminate.
Oh, I think
So
that's
no,
just,
even if we all had brown skin, we would still find a way.
because even I find like me being Mexican.
Yeah, Mexicans discriminate against
other Mexicans.
was it
just like blacks?
Indians from
If
India?
if you were to speak like say what's that actor's name? But if you were to speak very proper in that, and say you go to somewhere where it's a little more hoodish, I guess, they'll look at you a little bit different.
Say, oh, you speak white.
Yeah, you want to speak like a white guy.
And vice versa, though, then, like if Prince was that way, Prince speaks proper, but
Right.
then he could even look down upon someone from the hood and be like, look at you, you're ignorant,
Right, it could be vice versa also.
Yeah, it's a vice versa
That wouldn't
thing.
be. See, for me, it's not a thing of race. If I were to hold that kind of thought or ideology, it would be more so. I would expect that as a collectivist society, that we should try to achieve as much education as possible. For me, I think not the pursuit of knowledge is life.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, you don't necessarily have to get it at a university or whatever.
Right.
But
I think like what he was saying, again, it's like people in Chicago, like say like, I think like back in the 20s, when people like in Arkansas were moving up into the cities in the Midwest, then they become like city folks now.
True.
And then those city folks will say, yeah, when the other people from down in Arkansas, the country, would come up, they would go, oh, that's a country brother.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So right there's a sort of discrimination.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
From like inner city to...
Yeah, from someone being from a different part.
Discrimination though would be more so a practice, I feel like. See, because you can say like how we live in this community, we can say, okay, you're not from this community, you're from Edina, like
right.
so we don't hold the same culture or values, and that could be just based upon where we live. So I think in that sense, it's like we can create in-group, out-group narratives based on anything, but it may not be quote-unquote discrimination.
So,
because we do that with cities too, because like
Right.
we're in Frogtown, St. Paul, but it gets kind of bad here crime-wise, but then we'll go, at least we're not North Minneapolis, you know what I mean? So
Right,
are we?
yeah,
And then
so-
automatically everybody paints a vivid bad picture of North Minneapolis. Nobody wants to go there.
Bullshit happens over there.
I mean,
don't get me
Northeast
wrong.
Minneapolis is quite nice.
It is quite nice, some parts of it.
Mhm.
But when you're going down, what is that, Washington? No, not Washington. what is the main strip going into North Minneapolis?
Broadway.
Broadway.
Yeah, I was gonna say Broadway. Yeah.
There's parts of Broadway that seem very questionable.
Then the other parts of Broadway.
than other parts of Broadway.
And that's
You
you
know-
know, with the low income and poverty and stuff. I'm
But
like,
again, also too, so you think like what's going on now, people would say, you know, they should clean it up. I think when they had that tornado that took quite a few houses and buildings out, I don't think to this day they've replaced some of those buildings and some of those houses. You know, maybe somewhere down the line, I think what is that thing you guys call
Gentrification.
Gentrification?
I was just about to bring that up.
Right, maybe gentrification is
my
going to
thoughts on
happen.
it, too.
You know, but is gentrification a bad thing?
Bad and good.
I think it could
I
be
think everybody wants a nice
Correct.
upscale place to live. Nobody wants to be around, you know,
a shitty
dangerous hood shit, I guess, like shootings
Right.
all the
house.
time.
Everyone wants a nice crib.
But I think it is bad in a way because now you're pushing out people
And
and
then
forcing them,
settle somewhere
and, yeah, and
else.
forcing them to have to uproot. And not everybody has the money like that to just
Right.
constantly just get
Because
up.
a lot of that gentrification,
There you go.
Word of the day. Ding, ding, ding.
Ding ding ding.
that's another word of the day.
It's one of those spaghetti words for you.
Does it got 2 G's in it? Because apparently my diabetes was seeing doubles the other day. But
Continue.
to continue on, like there's some places in East LA and all that
Right.
that gentrification is happening. They're pushing out people, and like back in the '80s, a lot of those places had like really deep-setted gangs
Yeah.
in certain areas. Now today there's fucking Starbucks and that, and people are able to walk their dog to the park.
That's like
And-
when we went to California, we went to East LA. It wasn't even that bad like people
No,
made
it
it
really
sound.
wasn't. You know, and I guess if we would have went there like back in 1984,
Probably
it probably
be a lot
would have been
different.
fucked up.
See, I think gentrification in its original sense, because I think what we're thinking of is like innovating the neighborhood,
Right.
building and putting resources into it. See, gentrification is what happened to the very community you see before you.
The Rondo?
The Rondo community.
Right.
That was gentrification. They put a highway through a community and completely uprooted it.
Yeah, because
So that they can
94, the
connect.
Interstate 94 isn't that old.
No.
That interstate, when they uprooted everyone,
Do you remember that?
no, it was before I was born.
Was it?
But that was, I think your grandparents were just getting here.
Mm.
Because when they got here, you already had that whole separation with Selby and Dale and
Yeah.
Ashland and Laurel and things like that. Because your grandpa remembers, like he will tell the story, like where I think he was in Washington, but I guess it was in the paper that they're building a freeway, and everyone's like, "Hey, you hear this thing they're building? It's called a freeway." Today, when you hear, it's the norm.
Yeah.
But back then, it was like,
It's a
what?
huge thing.
Yeah,
It's
what the
like
hell is this freeway gonna do? Who's gonna use it?
Right.
And obviously, we don't have enough freeways for enough cars to be on.
That's crazy. You lived through a whole like race war
Yeah.
off of Rice Street, huh?
Yep. So when I grew up, your uncle did, your grandmother did. I mean, she doesn't really recall it, but for me,
Well, you guys were actually out there, so.
right. So for me, growing up, when we lived on Holly and Dale, on Selby and Dale, I seen we were in a predominantly black neighborhood, but if you go 4 blocks over, all of a sudden you're talking predominantly all white and big houses.
Mm-hmm.
Then when we moved to Mount Airy, it was like this little community of multicultural people. There was black, white, a few Mexicans, that lived there. But then where Mount Airy was, you had Rice Street. And on Rice Street, it was all predominantly white. And they like to keep it that way. So you couldn't walk on Rice Street really without being harassed or looked at funny. Because they're like, hey, the sun's going down, so it's time for you to leave.
Yeah, that reminds me of a story my dad was telling me, because he was born in '58, so he as a young boy he experienced very overt racism.
Right.
So like he used to go and work for his uncle, shoveling like poop and stuff like that.
Right.
And so when there was a certain street he was not supposed to pass, otherwise like he could literally get killed. Just
Right.
And on like in the case like of Emmett Till or something like that. And I'm like, it's kind of crazy that that a group of people would try to monopolize an area and keep other people out just because of who they are.
Right, and that's like in this neighborhood too. This neighborhood, Frogtown, was predominantly a white, blue-collar, working-class families that lived here.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until like the late '80s, the great white migration or the great white exodus that they all started moving out. Yeah, that's what they called it, like in Brooklyn Park too, the great white exodus. They all lived in Brooklyn Park, but it wasn't until like a lot of brothers and that, and I guess immigrants started coming into the country in the late '90s, and then started moving out into the burbs. So the white folks were like, hey, it's time to move out further. That's why you got them living out in Maple Grove, which was all farmland. Then it's all under new development,
You see that in, I just came from St. Cloud State. That's where I went to school. So I'm like, even if you look at the city of St. Cloud, a lot of middle-class white families have moved to Sartell because of the growing Somali demographic.
Right, and Somalis are moving St. Cloud. Where's that Prestige Hospital down
The Mayo
south?
Clinic?
The Mayo Clinic.
No,
So the Mayo Clinic's located where?
In Minneapolis?
in Rochester.
Rochester.
Isn't there one in Minneapolis?
Well, there's one in
Well,
Minneapolis,
yeah,
but
yeah.
the main
Oh, okay.
the
okay,
main
okay.
Mayo Clinic,
The one in Minneapolis,
is
that's
it-
just the sports one, ain't it?
I think it is.
I think so.
Yeah.
For like the Timberwolves too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the building. It's housed in that building. And so in Rochester, you're getting a very large population of Somalians. And of course, what? Did I say it? It's like a very...
Of Somali. The views and opinions of said troll do not reflect that of my own.
So the way I said it was sort of like Archie Bunker, like, Somalians.
Word of the day. No, I'm just kidding.
Somalians.
Bleep
Hey.
that out.
Hey, man, you Somalian brothers, man, you all right.
Yeah, all right.
So,
No,
but
they're
a
just
lot of
trying to
them,
make it like
a lot of
us.
them are becoming more Americanized. Listening to more, I want to say, hip hop, but more gangster rap, and listening to more hardcore.
Oh yeah.
So, a lot of those young kids that are going to school, even though their parents are strict and want them to adhere to, the Quran and
Right.
and everything, a lot of them are becoming more Americanized, where that Americanism.
So you think America ruins cultures?
I don't think it rules cultures. I think America is the land of the home and the land of the free. And when I say free, it's in America. American kids are grow up where it's a rite of passage to be rebellious, to question things, things like that. That's the American. Where in other countries, it's a strict, strict to the parents. Listening
Do
to
what
the
we
parents,
say, or
do what the parents say, or if you bring shame to the family, we'll stone you, little motherfucker. Where dad's not afraid to fucking take a knife and fucking cut your throat. In some cultures.
you're perpetuating a real ugly stereotype
Well,
here.
it's not a stereotype. I mean, it's.
Perpetuate.
I mean, if you go to, say you go to.
No, but there are some cultures that are very much like
Right.
that.
Say you go to Dubai, and you want to drink out in the open. You can't drink out in the open in Dubai. Girls can't walk around in bikinis in Dubai. They have to be in certain areas. Even though they got rid of the religious police, who at one time, if they saw a woman walking by herself down the street without an escort or a guardian, she could go to jail. If they caught a woman driving, she could go to jail in Dubai or in other parts of the Middle East, because they had those religious police. I forgot what they're called, but
I'm not familiar with
the Middle East and that. I'm
Well,
not familiar
like,
either.
See, I don't. I know like the overarching kind of things that we've learned, like wearing a
Hijab.
hijab, yeah,
Right.
and,
Yeah.
women kind of. Well, I'm like patriarchal thoughts and ideology has been in society for since we started civilization, because I'm like, women were supposed to be more weak. Women are supposed to be this
You know
and
what's
that.
funny too? When you look at like in all religion, it all seems like it's male driven. It's never any religion that's with like a woman driven, like Christianity, Hindu. Well, I guess I shouldn't say Hindu. I think Hindu has a few women gods.
A few goddesses.
Goddesses, yeah.
Yep, a few women goddesses and stuff. Some with multi arms that would bring rain and fire and fucking destruction.
Very dangerous.
Very fucked up.
See, but the thing is, it's like, well, I guess you could say in Nordic, or no, not Nordic. We've kind of, in American society, we've created these heroisms or
Heroines.
yeah, or what I'm saying is like women superheroes, I should say.
Okay.
So I'm like, we kind of have that because if we talk about religion, we can't discuss it as if everybody believes it or believes it to be true. So
Right.
a lot of people think it's just like another folklore or something like that. So,
Right.
I don't know.
Right, and for me, being Catholic, hey, I believe in God. I believe Jesus
True.
did walk on water, and
True.
and he did feed fucking 100 people with 2 fish. And
Hey, I'm right there with you.
so,
I'm right
but
there
other
with
than
you.
that, I think America, like you said, doesn't destroy cultures. I don't think it destroys cultures. I think America, basically, like I said, American teenagers, it has always been like a rite of passage to get a job when you're a teen, to kiss your first girl,
Be rebellious.
be rebellious,
The adolescence
question
stage, yeah.
authority, get into some bullshit trouble, not too much, but enough to where you kind of get older or you learn from it, you kind of go through that phase of being a teen. And for some parents, really strict parents, yeah, that's not going to be very tolerated. So the more they push on the child to be more obedient, the more the
they
child's going
rebel.
to push back. Sneak out of the house at night, go hang out with the wrong kids.
See, and I'm like, I don't have any kids of my own, but I guess I could say from a developmental side point of view, you have to kind of evoke that level of trust between your child. Like, otherwise, if you tell them not to do something, they're going to be like, I'm doing what I want anyways. And you
Right.
telling them that they can't do something all the time,
Well-
they're going to go do
Well,
it.
here's the thing too, like the point you're bringing up, America. Now every kid up to the age of fucking 5 years old has electronic device.
Yeah.
So now if they're not out on the street or at school, they're in their bedroom.
Well,
doing-
that's because it's easier just to give your kid a iPad and let them watch YouTube all day.
Instead
And
of
then
actually
they're-
taking care of your kid.
Yeah. Yes.
Instead of actually being a fucking parent, showing your child, something useful or, being interactive
You
with
think
their
if you
life.
guys would have had iPads and shit when you guys were young parents, you guys don't think you would give it to your kids to watch?
I think
you would.
I think we would have.
See?
And the funny thing about it, since we're Generation X, we're the ones that dreamt. We're the ones who dreamt of this, of these electronic gadgets. We're the ones who pushed it, and then all of a sudden, now here it is a reality. And it's funny that the people that really do kind of control it are the guys that are like 40 years old. But then there's a new generation of younger people that are with these startup companies. I don't know who owns TikTok. Is
Chinese.
It's a Chinese corporation.
Yeah.
So this corporation, this Chinese company, is making millions. Who's to say if they're gonna not make billions off all these TikToks and advertisement? You know, when we're talking about the whole YouTube, and I was telling you about it, there's a feature in the YouTube when you go to it,
You know,
and it
TikTok-
tells you the analytics of trying to reach your audience and all this other stuff. It breaks it down, and I'm like, man, what the fuck? That's some fucking
And-
deep ass shit.
Well, what's unique about the time we live in is they've given the user and the producer of content complete control. So
Right.
you look at these analytics, and you as a producer or you as a brand per se, you can look at these numbers and deal accordingly. What do I need to address as far as my content to improve? What do I need? What people are tuning in to my
Right.
shows.
And to me, everyone just likes just bullshit content. You know what I'm saying? It's just bullshit content everybody likes. If you start to try to break down the numbers and try to analyze and say, well, my demographic likes this. Most of the demographic, like I told Josh, it seems they like fucking 16-year-old girls with braces, and apparently she's the one that has 1.7 million fucking subscribers. Not the guy that's putting a fucking model plane together and shit like that down in his mom's basement.
Yeah.
So
I mean, everybody has their niche. I think as far as content is concerned, I think the most important thing, at least to me, is producing content that offers the consumer something of value. Something that's either going to improve their mood, offer them something to learn, or
something
just plain,
DIY.
or just plain entertainment.
It is. Just plain entertainment.
So,
Yep. So some people are either focused on DIY,
Yep.
but even their DIY is bullshit. Because when you look at some of these on how to start a podcast, nobody breaks down the numbers or what's kind of like it all entails, right?
Yeah, you got into that in the last one.
Right. So like how much all your microphones are gonna cost you.
How to actually use the program.
Yeah,
How to actually install the program.
Right. How to set it up. Just all this stuff.
They make it sound plug and go.
They just make it all sound like it's plug and go. So if you guys are ever still thinking about doing a podcast, just be prepared to invest in it.
Yes.
So
It
and
is
if
an
you're smart
investment.
enough, invest somebody else's money.
Yeah. If you're
Don't
gonna,
it?
if you're gonna spend money, don't make it your own.
Yeah, if you're gonna spend money, don't make it your own.
Right.
So
Yeah, man.
what?
That's it, man. Yeah, man. I don't know what else y'all.
Yeah, I think we did. You guys want to hear what we did so far?
Yeah.
Well, should we do the outro then or whatever?
Okay. Well,
I'll have
thank
to
you.
edit that part out. But
Thank you for tuning in. This was another insightful buffoonery with Prince on the
engineering, a real engineer.
A real engineer doing the real engineering.
Not a buffoon like myself sitting back there turning the knobs on camera and I'm not even turning nothing. I just do it so it looks like I know what I'm doing.
You made it look pretty good though.
Thank you, man. I tried.
I think the sound was actually good for what he did. I think you did fine.
Oh, thanks, man. That really made my day.
You make my day.
Thanks, man. That really made my day
apparently
in.
these two made each other's days. So.
Man,
Hey,
I
we're
think you
trying to
should-
have a moment over here.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
I think, if you have a friend, you should tell your friend, hey, man, you make my day.
Tell your friend that you love them and you care about them.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys hear that?
We're
So-
wise advice from 3 buffoons with some mics.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, man. We out.
We out.
Yep.